Streaming, doing my thing. Oh, I need my phone now. Where is my phone? Oh, it's right here. Awesome. Got to pull up the live chat. My channel. Awesome. All right, guys. So for those of you watching this YouTube video after it has been published, today it will start with a rant about microphones. This is something that anybody interested in any kind of content creation, whether you're making courses or a YouTube channel, you're going to be involved with figuring out what kind of microphone should you purchase. Okay? So I'm going to talk to you about microphones in general and the experience I have. Right now, what you're hearing is an internal microphone, which breaks my heart. And this is actually because my previous microphone, a Yeti, broke recently. So I'm using an internal microphone, which isn't ideal at all, but it is better than nothing, okay? So let me talk to you guys about some price points and some of the basics with microphones. So in general, if you want to record good quality audio for podcasting or voice, but you are not creating music, you never need to spend more than like $150 on a microphone. There isn't any point in spending $400 or $500 on a really professional, high-quality studio recording microphone unless you are actually making music. It is the difference in sound quality is so hard for people to notice that the vast majority of your users will have no idea, and you are talking about tripling the price of your microphone for little to no perceived benefit by your audience. Most creators are much more picky about how they sound than their audience is. And this is usually because creators, we're listening to ourselves, we're hearing our voice, we notice when things are different or wrong, but the reality is most of the time, you don't need to worry too much about your audio quality, okay? And you definitely do not need to spend hundreds of dollars on a microphone. You will be perfectly fine with a microphone that costs between like $70 and $150. That's the price range you want if you're making YouTube videos, you're recording courses, and you're doing anything short of actually making music. If you're making music, then maybe you can justify having more expensive equipment. But if you're not, trust me, it's not worth it. You're going to be perfectly fine with one of the like higher tier average consumer, mid-tier average consumer microphones. Okay? So now let's talk about some of the common USB microphones. So you have to make sure you get a USB mic. And the reason for this is because there's a whole industry of recording, and they use a bigger audio jack to go into like a mix hub and that kind of thing for like a studio. Your computer doesn't have one of these plugs. So you either need to get an adapter and one of those microphones, or you can just get a USB microphone. Now, there is angst and frustration with USB microphones by the studio and audiophile community because USB isn't as effective as transmitting data as some of these other plugs and whatnot. But again, this is an audiophile problem. If you are making YouTube content or course content, you do not need a super expensive fancy microphone. You are going to be fine with just a kind of $80 to $150 one, right? So now let's go to Amazon, and I'll talk about some of the most common ones. So I used to always recommend a Blue Yeti, and I used to buy these just used, and I would get them for like $80, okay? I personally don't know if it's so great to buy used microphones anymore. I've done this 3 times, and the Yetis all failed the exact same way. Which is actually also why I don't get Yetis anymore. I have to change this real quick so we actually see the products we want to see. Here we go. Okay, so there's also some other accessories I can talk to you about. You'll see that in like really fancy YouTube videos, they have an arm, a pop filter, and a shock mount. These all serve different purposes. The arm allows the Yeti to get, or the microphone to get in an ideal position so that the sound isn't distorted and it doesn't sound far away. The shock mount reduces background noise, and the pop filter reduces the noise that comes from any time you say P or stop or anything that's like that noise. That's what the pop filter helps to get rid of. You don't need any of these things. To be completely honest with you, if you just get a Blue Yeti or the equivalent microphone, the difference that makes between you and your internal microphone in your computer is so big, all these other things are minuscule compared to that, okay? Having an arm is awesome. If you're going to get an accessory, I recommend you get an arm and the microphone. But don't get the microphone, the arm, and the pop filter if you're not even used to using a microphone before. You don't need to spend that extra money, and don't be one of those people who drops $400 or $500 on a bunch of equipment that they never end up using, okay? So this is what most people are going to recommend to you, especially nowadays, is a Blue Yeti. Yeti makes a couple different microphones. The Blue Yeti is by far what made them like more famous. This is like the go-to USB mic for YouTubers and all sorts of other things. But essentially, every time I've had one of these, they've failed due to the exact same problem. And that problem is actually something that is mitigated by having an arm. But anytime you have one of these stands and you're moving it around, there's a plug, a USB plug, that goes into the microphone. And every time you move the microphone, you're causing a little bit more damage and wear to that plug. And ultimately, the plug eventually fails, causing your microphone to disconnect and reconnect and disconnect and reconnect and eventually not have any power at all, even when it's plugged in. You're going to find that you have like a sweet spot that you have to adjust. This has happened to all three of my Blue Yeti microphones, and I've gone through 3 at this point. I will say each of them lasted up to a year, and I bought them used from the beginning. Instead of dropping like $120, I dropped $70 and just got it used from the very beginning. And there's various reasons I do that, because I've been in situations where I have credit on Mercari, for example. So I could buy stuff on Mercari that's used and not have to take any cash out of my cash flow and that kind of thing. So there's certain circumstances that I chose to purchase a used product instead of a new one. For a microphone, I can say now that I wouldn't recommend doing that. So I just recently got a new microphone, and this is after having 3 Blue Yetis fail on me. And the one that I got was, let's see if it shows up here. We're just going to search for USB microphones, and I'll show up some that I've heard good things about. Let's change the price point. We're looking for things that cost... Oh, there's no price point filter. Oh, that's frustrating. I guess we can just filter by prime only. Does that work? And here we can go price high to low, and then skip all the really expensive stuff. Okay, this is definitely not priced. Oh, they're sponsored listings, that's why. Okay, we're at 350. We probably need to go to page like sponsored listing. Sponsored listings can be so irritating. 200. We need to get the price point down to like 100. So probably page, I'd say page 8. Sponsored. Here we go. 150. Okay. These are the packages. And honestly, guys, you don't need a package. Unless you are confident you're actually going to use everything, I encourage you to just get a microphone. Let's change this, probably page 11. Yeah, here we go. Okay, this, I don't know anything about this. This is the new version of Yetis. So these are a little bit smaller, but ultimately anything with a USB that's a micro or a mini USB plug, any microphone with one of those plugs is going to eventually have the problem that I talked to you guys about that I had with the Yeti. So don't think that that's just unique to Yetis. That is a limitation of USB plugs, and that's why nowadays most devices have these like USB-C plugs that are like they're symmetrical and they're much harder to bend. Anytime you have all those little prongs and other things, it causes your microphone, your plug, to wear out eventually. So especially if you're unplugging it, replugging it, unplugging it, replugging it, it's just a matter of time before it fails. So the microphone I ended up getting, I've heard good things about Samsung. I had one of these AT2020s. To be honest, I didn't like it. I didn't like how the sound was. I may have just had one defective unit though, and I think that's what happened because I know a lot of people who love AT2020s. I would recommend some kind of Yeti, maybe one of the newer ones, like the smaller ones, like this one, Yeti Nano, or a Samsung microphone. I've heard good things about those as well. This is a bundle, but you could just find a Samsung satellite. They're supposed to be really durable, so you can like have them in your pocket and stuff, and generally okay. But let's see, what microphone did I actually end up purchasing, because that's relevant to whoever it was that asked this microphone question that I'm making this video for, because that's basically what I thought was the best deal at the time. It was actually a kind of gimmicky microphone because it had a shock mount built into it. But the reason that I bought it was because I had free Best Buy gift cards, and I was going off of what is available on Best Buy. So let's see, actually. What did I actually buy? I spent like, I think it was $110, if I remember right. I can go to my order status. I guess I gotta sign in. Nope, don't want to look at the OKRs. That's not what I wanted. Oh, crap. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Here we go. I hope that's my password. All right. Okay, so I got a Fitbit. Oh, I'm showing you guys my billing address. Oh well. I got a HyperX Quadcast. That's what I got. So let's see that on Amazon. HyperX Quadcast. Yeah, this is what I got. I spent like $110 though. And the main reason I got it is just because I've had 3 Blue Yetis and I wanted to try something else. And I thought it looked cool. And I could get it for free because I got gift cards from a free YouTube video. I'm not going to say that this is the microphone you should get. Generally, if you spend between $70 and $140 on it and it's new, that's going to be fine. Your main mistake is getting too much stuff or getting a microphone that is way beyond your audio fidelity. Again, there's no point in you spending a $400, $500 microphone if you're trying to run a YouTube channel, or maybe if you're doing ASMR, but there's ASMR YouTube channels that run with Yetis and stuff. So in general, you never need to spend that much money on a microphone. You're better off spending that much money on like a really nice phone with a nice camera, or maybe a DSLR, but even at that point, you should already be in the habit of creating content before you justify any kind of purchase like that. And that is it for my rant about microphones. What's up, everybody? How's it going? What's new?
What's up, Jack? How's it going?
Awesome, man. It's good to see you too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You at a
We
Starbucks?
got some
You're not in
comments
the
there.
car.
No, yeah, I've been trying to pop up here on Starbucks every week here, so try to catch you.
Nice. Okay, yeah, you're right. There are comments. I'm gonna look at those real quick and answer anything relevant to microphones so we can put that behind us. Unless you guys have any comments. Actually, do you guys want to, while I read the comments, do you want to talk about your experience making videos and microphones? Okay, go, Bray, yay!
Okay, yeah. So I used to use a Blue Yeti Snowball, and I actually liked it. I liked it really a lot. It had a I bought a screen prop filter, just like you said, to knock out all those puh and pith.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm using this Logitech microphone that I got from Walmart, and it works out pretty good. It's not as good and clear as the Blue Yeti, but it works out just good enough to get you going and get the job done without people cringing
Yeah.
with the audio quality.
And I can barely, I can hear a tiny bit of background noise from you, but barely. Although I will say Zoom in particular is very good at eliminating background noise digitally. Like Zoom has a built-in noise gate, and you'll notice sometimes that when you listen to Zoom, it's easier to distinguish between other people's voices, whereas if you have a Skype call or something, it might actually be harder to distinguish between them and their environment. Zoom's pretty good about that. So one question that came up was if it's worth it to get a microphone under $40, and it absolutely can be. Here's the thing, though. You start getting into a lot of gray territory with the price point of less than $50. It's completely possible to spend $40 on a microphone that is plenty good for your usage. However, it's also completely possible to spend $40 and have a really crappy microphone. So if you are going to go for a $40 microphone, then you want to make sure that you're getting like a more well-known brand if possible. But to be honest, most of the time, the difference between a USB mic that you plug in and a microphone that's built into your computer is going to be intense and extreme, even if you're only getting a $20 or $30 microphone. So, like, I would personally get a more expensive microphone than a $40 microphone, but that's because of durability. That's the other thing that you kind of sacrifice when you pay for a cheaper microphone. You can find cheaper microphones that sound good enough for what you need, but the problem is that they're going to have more plastic components than metal components, and in general, they're going to wear out and break faster than if you get a more durable microphone. So say that you are just trying to get into this, you're not sure if you're going to integrate recording regularly into your life, you don't currently use it daily, that's probably not a problem at all, and you can go with a $30 or $40 microphone. If you're worried, I encourage you to spend less than you think you should. That's the better angle to go at when you're trying to create content. However, keep in mind that say you're using this microphone every single day and you spent $40 on it, you are going to upgrade at some point to something more durable that will last you longer, whether you are forced to by the microphone breaking or you choose to because you have established regularity of use as your habit. Is there any other microphone-related questions you have, Duncan? Yeah, Baby Ega said Blue Snowball. Yeah, the Blue's a great company. Basically, any Blue product, especially if you get them new, they're going to last a while. The only reason I'm not getting a Blue product now is just because I've had 3 of them. So I want to try other microphones and see what it's like.
Is Rita's mic working?
I'm not sure. She usually joins. Yeah, it looks like
Hi.
she unmuted herself.
I'm here. I have never bought a microphone, so it's something I'm thinking about too. I probably won't do it right this minute, maybe in a couple months. I'll just kind of keep making content, and then, as long as I know it's a regular habit and everything, then I'll go ahead and invest, but, because I invested a lot in eBay and I'm not really doing it. So it's like, just slow down.
It's better to be patient.
I can see myself buying. Huh?
It's better to be patient. And in your case, the videos that you're creating are with a cell phone. So it doesn't really make that much sense to get a USB microphone because you would have to.
At the moment,
do a
I
different kind of
eventually see
content.
me just getting footage and then adding my voice later to different,
That's the easier
edited
way.
footage. Well, yes and no. I got to learn how to edit videos though to do that.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's not...
If you're looking at edited content, the easier way to produce a professional content is to do the commentary after you've created the visuals and all these things that you're doing on a separate occasion because you have more control over it that way. than if you're just trying to put together audio snippets to get yourself to say the right things. So typically you would create the video part first, and then once you've created it, then you like look at it while it's playing and you record it, you narrate it while it's happening, and then you mess with those two tracks to combine them. So that's the more professional way to do it.
I didn't realize. I didn't even think of the possibility of putting snippets of voice together. That sounds really scary.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Not much else to add on that.
Cool. So, anyone want to start with how the week was?
I was seeing if Rita wanted to go, but it was great. Did the looked at the weekly course? Are you talking about the
Either
accountability?
one. You can talk about how
Okay.
the course made you feel, or the accountability thing, or both of them. We just got to be talking about, we're reflecting. This is the reflecting
Right.
part.
Okay. Well, yeah, the course was great. I got some notes here that I wrote down, and I didn't do a video for the course. Well, I guess that was the project for the course. I didn't do the video for it.
Mm-hmm.
And but my accountability,
I don't
I've been
expect
working
people
on
to, by the
my
way.
can of books still, and still working on it. Not finished yet with the recipes, so it's a lot. It's a lot.
I think we're at similar tricky parts now because, like, so for me with the Spanish content website, I created the subjects of the email list. So I identified 52 things that I can teach people that are relevant to Nicaraguans. So these are 52 things that are, the whole format is, okay, title of the email must teach something, because people won't click on the email. Not everyone will. So you will get people for that moment who just read the title. They have to learn something from that title. That's where it starts. So each of these concepts I have to come up with two variables for, right? Well, actually, 4, because there's the concept, and I've identified all 52 of them. And again, this is part of an email list. So one is sent out once per week, right? The problem now is that now I have to actually go through and write everything. And that's the time-consuming part. So it's like I have to set myself some kind of goal or figure some way out to kind of push myself. Because it's easy to just be like, oh, I could work on it and do like one a week. Or I could work on it and do like one a day and progress 7 times faster. Or I could do like 4 a day and be done in a week. Like there's a lot to figure out here. And I think that's kind of the same position as you, where we have the framework figured out. You know what you're trying to do. Now it's just you have to do the busy part that is tedious and takes a long time.
Yes, yeah, very tedious, the boring part. But it's pretty interesting because I get to see all these different recipes and all the combinations. I'm like, wow, okay, make fruit roll-ups, can of fruit roll-ups.
See, that's exactly how you gotta think. You can't, like for me, I can't think, oh, I gotta write 52 catching titles, 52 paragraphs explaining it, and then translate the 52 catchy titles to Spanish, and then translate the 52 catchy paragraphs to Spanish, and keep them catchy. That seems intimidating and scary. But if I just boil it down to like, okay, I have this list. Sublime Text 3 is a really cool tool. What does it do? How can I talk about it? Why do I like it? Okay, and then 20 minutes later, boom, I did it. I did one. But I didn't think about it the other way, right? So how do you stop yourself from thinking about things that really long, ineffective, time-wasting way versus just doing that task, It's tricky. And I think that's going to be something that comes up, at least with these two lines of work, because they're kind of similar in that way. So what about, what do you guys think is better? Do you think it's better that we each share our thoughts on the course and then how the week was, like we each have our time to talk, or if we share the course thing or share whatever thought we had and then move on to the next person, they do it, and then we change the subject and restart the cycle? Like, what do you think's better? I personally think more transitions is better, but I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah.
I like more. I agree. More transitions. Just I think it'll keep your show more interesting to
Okay.
kind of switch it around a little bit. Yeah.
Cool. So I guess that means, Rita, it's your turn to talk about how your week went.
It went good. I was off from a job the one that I do early in the morning, 7 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. And that was kind of cool because I got to get some extra sleep. And it was sort of a good trial run for, someday I won't have that job anymore. And my life will change a lot because it actually provides structure on the good end, but sometimes it's kind of hard, because it's too much structure 7 days a week. So anyway, so that was interesting. And as far as accountability, I made 4 videos. One of them's really short, so I don't know if it really counts, but every other day kind of thing. And so that, I think that was that my weekly thing, or that was like my 1-year goal to make something every day, or every other day. So I got to remember what my weekly goal was this time. I'm sure I did it, but I can't remember it right now. Let's see.
I have a task to get a whiteboard.
Oh, show my face in a video.
Yeah.
Show my face in a video. How could I forget that? That's so weird that I would forget that. Yeah, so the crazy thing about that was it's really freeing, even though I haven't done it live. I just put my picture up. It's really freeing because the world didn't come to an end. I didn't get run out of town, run off YouTube. And then I went ahead and put the video that I had made with my face in it on my Facebook page, and I have sort of not a following, but there's a few people that they're not people I know actually. They're just people I friended a long time ago or whatever, and they used to kind of follow me. I used to make videos live videos on Facebook. I used to be able to do that. I don't know if you still can, but
Yeah.
I used to just walk the same kind of thing, walk around with the dogs and talk about whatever. And, I kind of had some people that would always comment and this and that. So anyway, even though I haven't been on there in a while, Facebook still shows them my stuff apparently, because there they were again after, probably 2 years of me doing anything really. And, one guy said, hey, it's great to finally have a face to go with the whatever, the name or the whatever. I can't remember how he said it, but, just finally good to see, your face finally. And so, nothing negative. If anybody had any negative thoughts, I didn't share them. So that was good. And so it was really freeing. It's definitely a baby step because I'm still not going live with me yet. And I'm not ready for that just yet. But yeah, I liked it. I'm glad I did it.
I think that's going to be something that's really positive for you, because once you're able to, you're not always going to feel confident about it. You're going to feel insecure sometimes, even once you get used to it, right? But this is a great example of something that YouTube does that translates momentum directly into other things that you do, because you're being forced to put yourself through therapy right now. You are, that you're dealing with the fact that you're insecure, you're addressing that, and you're moving through it. That is incredibly powerful and useful, and that's one of the reasons that YouTube is so cool, because it kind of is like therapy. It forces you to confront all of these realities about yourself and expose yourself and put yourself out there anyway. And it's not all pleasant. It's definitely not. Yesterday, I woke up after a nap or something to a notification on my phone, and then it was a response to a comment, a response to my response to that comment about me getting a spray tan and working out more and fixing my teeth, right? And then I just got I felt shitty. I felt angry. I was irritable, not horribly, and I was smiling. I'm not sure if people around me could obviously tell that I was irritated by that, but it happens, and you're gonna find that for me in that case, I was okay, why am I affected by this? It doesn't even matter. It's not important. And at the time, I was going down this path where it was the first sentence of the guy's response was oh, I'm not telling you how to live your life. You're just reacting. And then I was just you literally just told me 3 things to do. I don't know, whatever. But exactly, that's the path. If you go down that path, whatever. I mean, maybe it's fun, but it's emotional, and it doesn't lead to good stuff, you know? And the problem for me is I can't read YouTube comments until later on in the day when I've had other events happen, because I just ignore a
Yeah.
lot of the positive ones. Like, I don't even think of them as positive. But then when I talk about this, I feel like they're all negative, and then I go and actually try and show people the negative comments. It's like, oh, no, ignore those 5 positive ones. Ignore those 20 neutral ones. Like, don't worry about those. Just look at this one bad one. Look at this. It's important. It really screwed with my head a lot, you know? Like, and so other people don't get it as much, you know? Um,
Yeah, imagine if we focused on the one good comment or the 5 good comments or whatever. Imagine if, like, that guy really likes seeing my face.
yeah,
Like, why don't I live in that feeling for a while?
exactly. That's the
You know?
therapy. That's the point you got to get to.
I like it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I love it. And you know what? I feel very blessed because a lot of YouTubers kind of have to go through this alone, and I have a support group. You know, I have you guys, and I have other people that come on YouTube, and they're watching too, and you know, and I'm sure it probably maybe it'll give some of them courage to try some new things too. So I feel like I got a lot of support, and I'm gonna cry, but that's really important. I mean, I don't know how many YouTubers have done it without support, just zero support.
It's
I bet that
crazy.
Reyes guy had zero support. Sounds like it. Maybe his girlfriend. Maybe she supported him. I don't know. But
Yeah, at certain points, everyone has zero support, but that's what's so great about YouTube. And it's funny you bring that up, actually, that this concept of mastermind groups or support groups, that kind of thing. Because that's one of the concepts in the Spanish content website, is that if you like seriously want to integrate something into your life, the most effective way to do it is find 3 or 4 other people who want that as well and meet with them every week. You don't even have to give it more context than that. You just have to have that weekly meeting, because seeing other people motivated and inspired and seeing their problems, it shows you it's real. It is so fundamentally important. And I don't think that there's anything that allows you to predict people's success as well as seeing, are they part of some kind of group relevant to what they want. Because if they're part of some kind of group, they're way more likely to succeed, even if their individual skill level is really low. They are still more likely to succeed than a person who is incredibly talented who is working alone. Working with groups is what makes humans fundamentally amazing. Our ability to feel each other's emotions and learn from each other's mistakes catalyzes everything we do. And when we work in some kind of team dynamic, even if it's just like this, we just meet once a week for 1 or 2 hours. That's not much time at all. That's not working 3 or 4 hours a day, you know? But it has such a strong cataclysmic effect. And I can tell you guys with confidence that nothing in my life, aside from changing my location to Nicaragua, affected my productivity as much as participating in mastermind groups. If I had to rank the decisions I made in my life that affected me in a very highly positive way, moving to Nicaragua was the biggest one, and joining Chris's mastermind group and then starting this one. These 2 things, even if I don't learn something from the call, but I almost always learn something from every call, from like a comment or an angle or a confusion someone feels. All these things teach us, right? So I get so much out of these calls, and also I know they're happening. I know that I need to be in a certain place and talk about something, and it makes me talk about what I'm working on. And it just makes it so much more likely I'm going to keep working on the same thing. Like, because there's a whole group of people with expectations, you know? Like, if all of us, one of us just disappeared and stopped doing YouTube work completely, it would make the other 2 sad. You guys got responsibilities, you know? I got to keep you guys happy. You got to keep me happy. And that is hugely powerful. So I'm glad that you're aware of this, Rita, because it's really important. And a lot of people don't have it, and I think it's why a lot of people give up, because it's so hard to find people who also want the same things you want if you're looking in real life. If you're looking online, it's incredibly easy. They're all over the place. It's just a matter of spending a week or 2 trying to identify them and reaching out to them. But in real life, in person, completely different. It's very hard to find people who are seriously interested in self-employment. They exist,
And I think the reason we need the support so much is a lot of this work is done alone. You know, a lot of the real nitty-gritty work, like you guys are doing now, you guys are really getting into your courses and your book, and this is like really where the rubber meets the road. You know, where you're getting into the tedious stuff, and it's lonely. I think it's very lonely. I mean, if you don't, you know, have other outlets, you know, other social outlets, and like something like this, you know. So I think that's a big part of it. It's just
that's very helpful.
Realizing that this is great to be able to do this, but it is lonely, and you have to take care of your other needs too, your social needs, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm a bit lucky in that sense because, or well, it's one of the reasons I focus so much on my environment, because I live in an environment where I don't need to go out of my way to get social experience and to feel like not lonely. And of course, sometimes I feel like romantically lonely, but I think that's a bit different. Like feeling romantically and emotionally lonely can be a bit different than feeling lonely because you haven't interacted with people too much. And that's also kind of a lifestyle thing. In my position, being here, being foreign, it's very easy to meet people. It's way easier. Whereas when I was in the U.S., I was really lonely, even though I knew people. I was able to find individuals I really, really liked, but never able to find like a whole community of people I really, really liked that was stable. I just wasn't able to do it. But here, completely different. So here I can have a lot of I don't have to worry about those side effects of being self-employed because my home is a community. So if that wasn't the case, like say I lived alone, it would be different. You know, it would be very lonely work. But I don't think of self-employment as lonely because it is why I have YouTube. It has given me all of this stuff. But depending on the income stream you're setting up, some of the work is really lonely. Obviously, making YouTube content, I think, is the least lonely work because you're highly likely to meet someone and have an online conversation and be exposed to someone else's energy. Whereas if you are like, okay, I guess I could say that the work I'm doing right now on the Spanish content, that's kind of lonely. But really, a lot of the stuff that I've done so far, I know I need to practice talking about a concept. So I have a conversation with a friend and see what they're confused about. And then that makes it not lonely because, you know, I'm involving the people around me in what I'm trying to work on. But that's just, again, because of the environment. So the environment's really important.
Can I ask you, is it just people in Nicaragua are more this way, or is it because you've intentionally gotten into a group of people that you met or whatever that are on the same page or something?
I think it's both. So in general, people in Latin America are more likely to be appreciative of things. I'm not saying they're always appreciative of things, but in general, Latin American people have less access to material things. However, they are not less happy. They are more, in general, granted, this is in general, people are more appreciative here of other people and spending time together. Like that is more normal, but talking about like cell phones and relevant to the course, actually, maybe this is a good transition. It very much is a thing here that people get mad at each other for spending time on their phone instead of talking. So don't think that that kind of problem doesn't exist. It's not like everyone here is perfect and loves spending time together and always is doing that. But your chance of finding people like that here is a little bit more likely. You can still find it in the States. The problem is that the culture of the States kind of shapes people to be independent and view living with others as a bad thing. So if you are especially trying to find like successful people who are in the habit of improving their lives, statistically, they probably have these stereotypes that they've been raised with, and they're not going to like the idea of living with other people as much. So the environment that I'm in now is very rare and lucky. And I only came into this because I got lucky and then met someone on Tinder, and that led to becoming part of this community. But I couldn't have planned this to happen. So like, I want to tell you that it was all planned, but it wasn't. Like, I definitely helped make it happen by being a very positive, charismatic person and being friendly to people and trying to make a difference in their lives when I can and being memorable. That increased the chance of this happening, and especially the way that I live, being very giving and sharing. But that isn't the only reason. I did get really lucky and just met incredible people that are part of a community, and I became part of that. I don't know how to replicate that.
Well, I think it can be done. It just takes time. Over the years, I've had to regroup a lot of times because people move out of California a lot. And I've had to, just readjust to people moving and making new friends or developing friendships, that were not as deep, just deepening friendships I already had, let's say. So I think it can be done, but it just going to take longer, and you have to be really intentional about it.
Yeah. I would imagine, like, so say that you live in New York, or Cali, for example. Like, I know that in these kinds of places, people are pushed more to live together simply because of how expensive everything is. But at the same time, that's kind of balanced out by the fact that most people don't want to live with others.
Right. And I was that person for sure. And I'm actually changing in that regard now that I'm at this new place. And part of it's because the people I live with are a little more open and inclusive. They include me if I want to go with them to the bar. It's just the bar stuff, but they're inclusive, and that makes me feel like
it's the little things.
A little more supportive. Huh?
It's the little things.
Yeah. So I feel a little more open and happy just because I'm included. And then of course, I'm always, I do kind things as well. And so it's a much better situation for me. And I realize now that, because I was so against, that's part of the reason, I don't even know if Bray knows this. I lived in my van for 4.5 years. And part of the reason for that is I did not want roommates. And,
in your defense, there are a lot of shitty roommates. Like, there's way more shitty roommates than good roommates.
I agree. I know people who are like me and rent rooms and just go from one horrible situation to another. And I don't know how much is their fault and how much is the other people's fault. I really don't know. But, I do see people that kind of flit around. One of the good things for me is I had reached out to another dog walker, and she became a very good friend. And it's her cousin that I'm living with, that I'm renting a room from. So I think that helps a little if you're already kind of in. He knew I was a decent human because his cousin liked me so much. You know what I mean? So I think that helps, like, rather than just answering an ad on Craigslist. I'm not saying that can't work either, but I think you increase your chances of being in a good situation if there's some kind of a connection.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Yeah. And even though they're not like me, they're not looking to, start YouTube channels or whatever. They're not, that's not their thing, but it's really opened me up a little bit. It made me feel better. That helps.
Yeah, it's super important. That's why environments are critical. It took a lot of me being in bad environments before I really tried to change that, I guess. I was kind of aware of it, and I thought of it as something that was teaching me, but I thought of it as just a reality that you always have to put up with, and you can't ever actually...
Yeah, inevitable.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's not true. Now I know that's not true, but I don't know how to convince someone who thinks that's true that it's not.
Yeah, you just got to experience it. I got tired of staying in my van. I felt kind of a lot of shame, about it, because I was always hiding. You're always kind of hiding, and that's, that kind of messes with your self-esteem. So the other thing is, as I'm getting older, I'm getting better at navigating relationships. Like, one of my roommates is not really that cool. He's okay. He's got redeeming qualities, but he can be kind of inappropriate sometimes on certain things. And I'm just getting better at handling that, without, going off the handle. Like, in my 20s, I would have just told him off, and I would have been really uncomfortable. And I'm just trying to appreciate the good things about him. And it's still a balancing act, because you don't want to be too kind, because then it's going to get worse. You create a monster, they think it's okay, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I'm just using that as an example. There's all different issues that can come up, but, it's just all a learning experience. And I feel good that I'm not running away from it, that I'm facing it and dealing with it the best I can, and it's okay. And I don't feel, I take the necessary precautions. My door is locked, stuff like that. I protect myself, and stuff. I'm just cautious, but I also don't live in fear either, If it was really bad, I would leave, I know the point at which it would be too much and I'd have to leave, but it's fine. I can handle it, I think. It's just it's sort of a maturity thing.
As long as it's better than the past environment, that's what counts.
Yeah, good point. It is, even though some people wouldn't like it at all. Some women would just be like, no, I'm out of here. Because he says some crazy stuff occasionally. But I don't know. It's partly just being older and I understand men better than I used to and people better than I used to, I think. And I kind of understand why people do the things they do now. You know what I mean? They're just human. They're just human.
Having more time helps. Having more free time.
Huh?
Having more free time really helps you understand people.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, when you're working full time for the man, it's hard to, because when you're off, when you get off work, you just want to decompress. You don't want to deal with, complicated relationships and things.
Yeah,
it definitely helps.
All right, Bray, do you want to talk about the course? How, what your takeaway from it was? I know you didn't do the project thing, and for the reference, I never expect anyone to do the projects. I'll actually show you guys. I did it, but only because I did it a year ago. So I'll show you the one I did a year ago, which will be funny. I'm totally embarrassed by this, but it's fine. I'll show afterwards.
Great learning experience. Yeah, I definitely got some good tips from him. One thing was don't start with your credentials. So don't just come out there saying you have a bachelor's degree in this and you got experience in this. Actually start with a story. Bring people into what message you're trying to bring to them, and actually get some relatability to the people first before you start bringing up everything that you've done. And that's what he really kept coming into, getting into the mind of the other person and trying to bring that story to that person so they understand. And one thing I don't do is write out outlines whenever I'm doing videos or doing any type of talking or anything. I don't write out outlines, so I'm gonna try that out. And he's saying practice out loud, and that's what we pretty much are doing on YouTube. We're practicing doing videos and just putting it out there for anybody who's up used to it. And I could definitely tell that's been helping out Rita a lot. So keep it going. She's buying a new computer and she's going to be up there doing just as good video editing as anybody else. So that's good. I really like what's going on.
I appreciate your confidence in me. It's going to be a process, and I think that's why I'm thinking about this loneliness thing, because it's going to take, I don't know how many hours, many hours, and I'm lazy. I'm not lazy. I just don't like wasting time, so it feels like I want things to go kind of quick and get into the creativity, get over this technical stuff and get into the creativity, but this is
you got to figure out how to make it. Yeah. You can't think of it as technical. Yeah. It's part of the creative process. And it is, so video editing can be very fun. It just is time consuming. But it is one of those things that once you sit down and do it, you're likely to lose track of time and become invested and want to finish. That's.
Oh, I hope so.
It's real. Hope so. Yeah, that's as long as you're creating content you care about, that will happen to you.
What I think is going to help me is I don't know exactly how this happened, but I'm starting to get a vision for what I want, how I want it to look. I want it to be, of course, footage of dogs. I want to add in some birds here and there because I love birds, and I think other people might enjoy that. And then I want to add in just nature, like flowers. I love flowers. So anyway, I just have this sort of vision of how I want it to be, and the vision might change a little. But I mean, like if you allow yourself to dream of how cool it could be, I think that could get me through the hard times of learning how to edit. And then when I do, just the learning is going to be the hardest part. I do think once I learn it, I'm going to be happy. And like you said, I'm going to lose track of time. I'm going to be in the zone. I'm going to be making this stuff. But it's the learning part. That's going to be hard for me. It's going to be like 6-10 hours, maybe more. I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take. But but that's what, the accountability is there. That's going to be my, I'm going to be making those my goals. My weekly goal is I'm going to spend X amount of time or whatever. I guess time isn't a good way to put it, but I'm going to be doing some kind of task every week. And I'm going to be reporting back on, did I do it or not, And I'm a little nervous about it, but like I said, I'm starting to get a vision for what I want my videos to look like. And I've never really had a vision before that I know of, other than the scary visions of bad stuff happening.
That's perfect.
I've never had a good vision. I haven't had a good vision in a really long time.
I'm happy that you're saying this, because that's something I think about with content creation. Somebody at some point in my life, I have no idea who, told me something that really stuck with me. And they were saying how, like, whenever you create something, I think it was Peter Molyneux. He is a video game designer who created the Fable, played a large role in the Fable games. Also regularly got in trouble for saying stuff would happen that just wasn't true. So a lot of people hate Peter Molyneux, but I freaking loved him. He was awesome. He was a riot. But at one point he was talking about video game creation and how if you really want to create something, you don't start with just like creating it. You start with all of the experiences that put you in the position where you want to create that, and you have to kind of have a very confident understanding in your mind of what your product looks like before you can really be successful creating it. So I'm not saying at all that it's important, or I'm not saying at all that you should like try and make something perfect before creating it. I'm just saying that it really is true that something forms inside of you, an understanding of what you want. You can imagine what kind of video you want to make, and the clearer you can imagine that, the clearer you can see it, the better you're going to do. So your focus kind of is on putting yourself in situations and conversations and experiences that develop that image in your head of exactly what you're trying to create. Because it's really hard to create something if you don't know what you're trying to make. Imagine trying to make a cake, a chocolate cake, but you have no concept of what a cake is. You just want something to come out of the oven that's tasty and not burnt. It's confusing. How are you supposed to make it if you don't know what it is, So I'm very glad, Rita, that you're talking about your understanding of what kind of video you want to create growing, because that's a really good sign that you will continue to develop your videos and make videos that match what you want in your mind.
I hope you're right. I hope I can stick with it. There's a Bible verse, and even though I'm not a Christian anymore, there's a lot of wisdom in the Bible, and it's because it's just ancient wisdom that's been put together, and it's without a vision, my people perish. You got to have a vision. I know Bray understands that as well. You got to have a vision for what you want, because otherwise you're just kind of bumbling along. And sometimes bumbling's okay, but sometimes you got to kind of pinpoint what you want.
Yeah. Bumbling. I like that word.
I've done some bumbling. I've done some bumbling, and it worked out okay. But I want a little more now, and so I think I need a plan and a vision.
Do you want to share how you felt about the course? What were your takeaways?
Well, I'm sort of It's okay. It was okay. I'm glad I was exposed to it, but I'm not. My head's not in that place right now. So it was good to be exposed to it, but it's not like my thing right now.
It was
I'm
very
kind of
public speaking-y.
yeah.
Like,
But one
really.
of his videos really caught me. I don't know if I don't even know exactly why he started talking about this, but he was talking about the connection thing and about
Cell phones?
putting the cell phone, leaving the cell phone.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So that was the only thing that really captured me. Everything else was kind of like, whatever. But everything else sort of looked a little fluffy to me. It doesn't mean it was. It's just how it appeared to me. But
Yeah. No, because
yeah, when he
you
started
feel
talking
like
about
it's not completely
leaving the
relevant,
cell
so
phone,
it makes sense.
huh?
You didn't feel like what he was talking about was relevant to you, so it makes sense that
At
you
the
wouldn't
time, yeah, there's
feel that
nothing wrong with it.
engaged.
It's
Yeah,
not saying that's anything wrong with the course. It just, it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't relevant to me.
yeah.
But when he started talking about that cell phone thing, because I have a girlfriend that she's my best friend, but she's been playing Pokemon because her not her brother, her son plays it. So that's how she's trying to connect with her son.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but sometimes we're together and she's doing this Pokemon shit, and I'm like, God damn it. Stop, you idiot.
He's playing Pokemon Go.
Stop it. I don't know. Whatever.
It's on her cell
Whatever
phone?
it's called. I don't care. Probably, yeah. It's the modern version, whatever. And it's
There's
but
a
anyway,
lot
so
of
like we
modern
went to dinner the
Pokemons.
other
Know thy
Huh?
enemy, Rita. You must study
Huh?
Pokemon now.
No, I will not. But you know, so we went out Friday night for dinner. We often do that. And I said, hey, I have an idea. Let's leave our phones in the car. And she's like, no, because my mom might call. And I'm like, oh, gosh. So anyway, it really resonated with me because you do, even though nobody means any harm, everybody's just trying to multitask. But it does make you feel small when somebody's not, you've taken the time to hang out with them and they're somewhere else mentally, you know, it does hurt your feelings. But again, like what he said is, I've done it too. I did it to my kids. I've done it to my own children. It's like, wow, you know, it's that's sobering, you know. So yeah, I'm definitely. I know, Jack, you've talked about it, just not being engaged with the internet all the time. You know, I'm ready to.
I talk about screen time in general. I don't talk so much about the social dynamic part, but that's definitely real. I think he really hit it on the head.
It all seems to go together to me. It's just your attention's divided. But I know what you're saying. Like if you're alone and nobody's there, then that's a different story. But honestly, sometimes I think that sets you up.
No, it does. It's not like you should be able to have a relationship with yourself without your phone, and that should be a regular part of your life. A lot of us don't at all. Like, it's bad.
I know.
I'm a bit opposite because I leave my phone at home when I leave. So if I leave the house, I usually don't have my phone with me, which is irritating for my friends sometimes. But it's my way of like getting out of that loop of always checking my phone and stuff. I also, if I forget where my phone is, I feel really happy. I'm like, I don't know. It's like, nice, that's awesome.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, because sometimes I forget to turn my ringer on. And then, you know, a couple hours has passed, and I'm like, oh, that was great.
Yeah.
It's not in the world. It didn't come to an end because Rita didn't respond in 5 minutes. You know? It's fine.
Very true.
It's fine.
So I'll share.
But do you remember?
Go on.
Huh? Oh, I just want. Do you remember I was asking you though on the call a couple days ago? I asked you, what do you do when you don't have your phone with you all the time? Because I feel like I don't know anymore. Like it's a thing.
Well, you don't smoke marijuana, so that's why you have that problem. Bray and I, we are incapable of feeling bored. You realize this?
You're incapable of what?
Incapable of feeling bored. Yeah.
Yeah.
But is that real or is that kind of a fantasy?
No, like that's what weed does. It makes you not bored by basic trivial things.
I get that, but maybe you just think you're not bored.
I definitely.
I don't know.
I don't feel bored, and I'm able to do things that bore me. Normally, they bore me. Like, although I'd say I'm getting. Go on.
Just for the record, because you had mentioned last week about people, they would probably like pot if they tried it. I did when I was younger. I just want to be in reality. But then the cell phone and the internet is just, to me, it's the same thing.
It is, no.
It's all about escaping reality.
Yeah.
Because reality can be sort of, if you're not looking, it can be kind of boring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you get off of all these things, it's actually not that boring. So sometimes when I'm walking dogs, it's like I see things. If I have my phone off and I'm looking around, the leaves are changing color over a few days. If I'm walking the same place every day of the
feel
week,
an appreciation for these things.
Yeah, you see the changes more if you aren't medicating yourself either with the internet or with, a substance. Does that make sense?
In general, yeah. So I think that there is a world where you can have all these things in balance and be in very good harmony with yourself and the people around you. That is going to look different for other people. For some people, that means they can't drink alcohol. For other people, it means they can't consume marijuana. For other people, it means that they can't be around their phones when they're near their significant other. It's all very different.
Well, yeah, like Chris does. Like Chris does. He spends whenever he's with his
every
his
Sunday.
wife. Does he take the whole Sunday off?
Most of it, yeah.
It's amazing because he gets so much done. I don't even know what to say. That's a whole different topic. It just amazes me what he can accomplish.
So this kind of relates to an experience I had recently. So I used to feel less confident in my ability to do stuff every day, but I've been much more able to sweep and clean and brush my teeth and these things. These are regular parts of my life now. And over the past week, it was super cool because I didn't feel like I had to push myself to do these things. They just kind of happened. And one of the things that was also happening was that my eye was all screwed up because I hurt my eye. And so I wasn't wearing my contact lenses. And when I don't have my contact lenses in, I cannot see things in detail. I can't see people's faces very well, so I can't read things. So when I wake up this way, and I don't put my eyes in immediately, I just inevitably go do simple things like cleaning because it's the only thing I'm currently in a state that I'm able to do. So now when I wake up, I won't put in my contact lenses straight away. I will do all of these other tasks of waking up and cleaning, making some coffee, eating something, watering the plants, all of these things. And it really helps, which is weird. Why is it that hindering my eyesight enables me to better accomplish what I want? That's inherently weird.
Well, have you ever heard about blind people who have a heightened sense of hearing?
Yeah.
They say all their other senses are heightened because they're blind. So I think there's something to that.
But even if I have better senses, why am I cleaning more?
I don't know. Because it's comfortable. You're in a routine now.
Heightened senses and heightened activity.
I don't know. I think it's because, I feel there's this simpler, calmer mindset I'm in when I don't have my eyes in because I cannot see all the detail in the environment. Therefore, the environment is simpler. My brain doesn't comprehend things as much. If somebody's at the other side of the room, I can tell they're a person. I cannot register how they feel at all. I have no idea. I can't see their face, even if I'm looking directly at them. So it just means, I think that's why it just means that I can't observe as much detail. So therefore, I'm not as stimulated. So I'm harder to distract because I'm not looking at the environment. Oh, maybe that's it. Okay. Yeah, because when my eyes are out, my eyesight's so bad that I'm thinking about what I want to do and then going to do it. I'm not looking at what's in front of me and responding because I can't see what's in front of me. So that could have something to do with it. I don't know. we'll see how it is with more time. But
You're not distracted. I think it's really just simply you're not distracted by all the other stimuli, especially social stimuli. What
Yeah.
does he think of me? What does she think of me? Did I do this thing right? Did I, you know what I mean? What do I think about what I just said and all that crap?
takes up a lot of energy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's too bad. I mean, maybe it's okay, but not all the time.
Yeah, not all the time, for sure.
I'm just going to have to, it's sad that when you go on the internet now, you can actually make the print bigger. Because I'm too lazy to get my glasses, but I will make the print bigger so I can read things. If I couldn't do that, I wouldn't have an internet problem. Because I'm too lazy to pull my glasses out to read stuff.
There you go.
I got the same problem, but yeah.
All right, so I'll summarize what I took away from the course. Mostly it's just summarizing the points that the course teaches. So for those of you guys watching, we took a course by Simon Sinek. I was going to say Simon Pegg. Who's Simon Pegg? I don't know who Simon Pegg is, but it's another person who's not this guy. We took this course by Simon Sinek that was all about presentation, and basically it was a public speaking course. It was about like how do you capture the attention of an audience, and how do you not make the basic mistakes. And the assignment for the course was to create a video that's like a 2 to 4 minute pitch, basically, of a concept that you're going to speak about at a TED Talk. Okay? So I can show you guys the one that I did. I'm embarrassed by this. I'm just going to show it anyway. It's called Believe in You. And I obviously have to put this in front. There we go. So before I show this, let me summarize this real quick. The main takeaways I had was the thing he was talking about how you start your presentation. I really, really liked. He was basically saying that like most presenters are in a rush and they'll just start talking like because they're nervous before they like take time, and most presenters don't wait and that kind of thing. And this is something that I studied right before I talked at a university to about 230 students, which is the most people I've ever talked to in one sitting. But it was super cool having like taking this and then going and literally like doing a speech in front of a bunch of people, because you think it's easy to pause like I just did like that. When you're in front of hundreds of people, that feels like 20 minutes. It feels wrong to just stop. Like you feel like you're screwing up or making a mistake. But by you choosing to do that purposefully, it really does give you like a level of control, and it makes you stand out, and then it makes it easier to grab the audience's attention. And that translates into the second.
I liked how he talked about just looking around the room.
Yeah.
I liked that. That was really cool.
That was his point.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no,
I wanted
it's fine.
to add to that.
And that was his point. He's like, you should start by doing nothing. You literally walk up, and then you just look at the people. Look around the room. Feel like an idiot for a minute, and then start talking. It was great. But one of the cool things that he...
And the world doesn't come to an end.
Say it again?
You know? The world doesn't come to an end just because you were quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And that makes you come across as very confident. And so the other thing that... there were two kind of things he talked about, things that you shouldn't do, that most people do. And the first one was trying to establish your own authority. He didn't say it that way, but that's how I communicate this concept, because it's something that I know a lot about in my work, because I didn't have any authority to teach any of the things that I teach. So I purposefully made content different, because I just skipped the part that's always taught in the beginning, which is, why should people listen to you? You must tell them why so that they will listen. But based on this guy's course, that's irrelevant. and you're better off giving them useful information that makes them develop a relationship with you, because then you are an authority instead of you.
It's so, yeah. It's so funny because the confidence is more important than all of it. Because I've had these weird experiences in my life a few times, and it actually scared the crap out of me, where I've known something, like at a job or something, I just start talking, and because I'm confident about what I'm talking about, people look at me with like puppy dog eyes. It's just a thing, you know what I mean? If you're confident, people they will follow you. But unfortunately, I get too scared when that happens, but maybe in the future I won't, you know, but at the time, I'm just trying to reiterate what you're saying. It's like, if you have confidence, it doesn't really matter if you've got numbers and letters behind your name or whatever, you know?
Yeah, it's more important to be able to talk with that confident tone. And that's kind of, that's something he referenced. So the first mistake that he talked about when making presentations was spending too much time trying to convince the audience that you are an authority. This is something that he felt in general is not going to be productive. You're better off providing information, right? The second thing was that you shouldn't use data and numbers in the very beginning to capture attention. You should use some other metric or some other means to capture attention, and then use the data later in the argument when the audience is in a position to actually care about it. But data alone usually won't be good enough. So to iterate this a little bit further and take it past what he's talking about, imagine a scenario where you're trying to convince investors of something. Based on what this course just taught us, you are better off starting with an emotional story about something that you think relates to them in some way than starting with statistics about what your change is going to do, what your business is going to do. So those numbers can be useful in backing up your argument, but you shouldn't use numbers to interact with the audience unless you've already captured their attention. That part's important because numbers alienate people. We don't like dealing with it and thinking about it because we have to keep track of it. It takes up our resources and our energy and our attention. So it's a great way to alienate people if they're not following. So you have to be careful when you time numbers into your presentation. That being said, at the end of this course, there was this assignment to create a TED Talk pitch, right? So I will share the one that I made. I feel embarrassed, but I need to actually just share it. So let's see. The people watching the live stream will see this. I need to share my screen so you guys can see this. But will you see the audio? I don't know. You won't see the audio if I share the screen, will I? Okay, I think I have to link it to you guys. There it is. Okay, that's the YouTube video that I'm just about to show the live stream. So I'm about to play it. You guys play it at the same time. We're probably good.
What's up, guys?
All right.
My name's Jack, and I'm a human. And when I came into this world, for most of my beginning life, I thought that people were better than me. I felt like no matter what, I could do the same amount of work as other people, and they just got further. They had to work less, and they got more done. I felt like other people just had this understanding of one another, like it was them and it was me. I felt so alone for the beginning part of my life. I felt so insecure. I felt so untalented and unskillful. I felt like I had to work so hard to become just average at something, and other people could just do it and be amazing. But guess what? I was completely wrong! All of us feel this way. We are all insecure. We all feel like it's us, it's me and them, until we find a group of amazing people who we relate to, a family. And I want you to know I used to feel this way. I used to feel that other people were so much better than me, and I felt like I couldn't do anything. And this really contradicted with the fact that I felt like I was special. And I really struggled with that for a long time. But there was a big turning point in my life. It was a specific moment where I realized we are all insecure. We're all humans. We all struggle. The only difference is that when you are looking at other people, you don't see their struggle. You don't see where they came from. And it's so easy to think, oh, they're just good. They just are that way naturally. The reality is they work their asses off. People don't get that way without putting in the time, the effort, the energy. And so I want you to take away one thing from this video, and that's that you are the only one who can be you. Take confidence in this fact that nobody in the world, nobody of these billions and billions of people on this planet can be you. You are the only person who can be the best you. And you are the only person who knows what is best for you. Don't let other people tell you what is best for your life. Look into yourself and understand what you love, what you enjoy, and bring this into your life. You will find that within time, you're one of those people who you used to observe and think that they had it easy. You can become like that. All you have to do is believe in you. And you have to be the one who believes. If you always look for other people to believe in you, you're going to struggle. Because other people are struggling to believe in themselves, and you can't expect that from them. But if you can believe in you, you can identify things that you love, you can surpass all of this. And you can become the best person that you can possibly be.
Cool. So that was that. That was embarrassing. That was not bad though. That video actually performed pretty well. I used it as an advertisement and ran a YouTube ad campaign to when I was originally trying to compare metrics, and that video had the highest click-through rate of any campaign I've ever done. It isn't.
I'm not surprised.
It
I'm
isn't.
not surprised. Why are you embarrassed by it? It's great.
No, I know, but I'm embarrassed because it's something I did a while ago and I didn't work on it for a long time. I literally, like, it was during the month of Skillshare when I was still trying to be a Skillshare teacher, and I was doing that thing where I take one course every day and I make one course myself per week. I took that course that day and then made that video, and it led to these other things happening. But it was cool because most of the time I don't do the projects, but in that case, I was like, I can make a video that makes people feel confident and happy. Okay, how do I do that in 4 minutes? Cool.
No, you know what? I have mad respect. I love what you shared. That's the essence of Jack.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Even if it was a while ago. Yeah, no, I was like, okay. You had energy back then.
I love it. I loved it. You shouldn't be embarrassed about it, Jack. It's good stuff.
I'm always going to be embarrassed by my own content, especially when I show my own content in a video that I have to sit there and watch it. Like from my perspective, I wanted to do that because I was scared of it, and I know that I should do the things I'm scared of. But that doesn't mean I'm not scared of them.
But no, you know what? Somebody needed to hear that. You may have changed somebody's life. Maybe more than one person.
I don't know.
You may have, because I was in Al-Anon for a number of years, and this is the kind of stuff people talk about, like being the piece of shit the world revolves around. You know what I mean? You feel like crap, but you also feel special.
Yeah.
The piece of crap the world revolves around, and also comparing your insides to somebody else's outsides.
Yeah.
They talk about that stuff. I mean, this is universal. You hit on universal themes that people relate to, and that's why your video was popular.
Yeah.
Your advertising was popular. You hit on some themes that are really important.
And it also illustrates that concept of that Simon was talking about, which is that you shouldn't, if you are making a presentation or any kind of video and it's coming across as you want something from the audience, you aren't going to perform as well. That's just how it works. You're going to do better when the audience feels like they are getting something from listening to you. In that case, like that concept was what I made that video around. And so for me, critiquing that video, it's a bit too long. Like the basic premise is to get someone to think that I'm sad and whatever and look and feel sad, and then to flip it and do that. And that's like a premise I use in a lot of my emotional content. But what was I getting at? It really is a good illustration of, you know, that video that you guys just saw had more people look at my YouTube channel afterwards than any ad I've ever tried by like tenfold. And all the other ads were in that other strategy, that other format. So that's one of the things in my past that led to the understanding of the Spanish content website and how to market it. And that's why like this email list is designed so that every title teaches something. And even if a person gets the email and never clicks on it, but they read the title, they'll still learn something. And that's the mentality that it's taking. But the only reason I know that's important is because of these events that happened like a year ago. So it's funny how that video and that experience and all that stuff with Skillshare tied into educating me to the point that I understand what's necessary. It built that picture. So I see in my head what I need to make. I know exactly what the website needs. I see it. I feel it. I know it in my head. Whereas a year ago, I didn't. I had all the information, but that part of thing inside me, I just knew I could create something, but I didn't know what it was. Now I have a better sense of it, right? So let's move on now. Now we have like 20, 30 minutes to figure out what our actionables are. I have stuff I can talk about. Did I review my week? I don't know if I did or not. Did I?
No, you didn't yet.
Okay, cool. So, I have a little bit of trouble keeping track of which goal is which because I have two every week because I have this goal and then I also do one with Chris. But my understanding, I don't remember if this is accurate, was skate every day, cook every day, clean every day. That was one. So do those three things every day or 5 out of 7 days. Anytime I say every day, I'm always using the 5 out of 7 metric, by the way. I don't think of anything as do every single day. Sweeping's pretty easy because it's like 10 minutes or less, you know. So is brushing your teeth. These are everyday things. But honestly, if I'm using my version of every day, I'm still okay with it. So I did that. I didn't necessarily cook very crazy things, but I did cook. I cleaned, and I skated. There was one day, I think I did the skating 4 out of 7 days because there was one day I didn't feel very good and I was resting, and I didn't end up skating that day. But then I ended up skating yesterday by accident, so I guess that makes up for it. But anyway, that was all going really well, and actually to the point where now I don't think that it's healthy for me to use these same goals anymore because I think that I will continue to do them. I understand that I'm happier and more productive if I clean, I get exercise and I skate, and I cook food. I know that now, and not only do I logically know that, but I know that from my habit. So I think I can just continue going, and maybe in the future, if I feel that I'm falling out of this, then maybe I'll use this as a goal again. But for now, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to continue to skate almost every day, cook and clean every day as well. So what I got to figure out is how do I push myself to work more on the Spanish content website. The last goal I had was to work every day on it. And I did sit down and touch on it every day. But I think kind of because of the abstract nature of that goal, I can't just use that same goal again. Because now I know that I need to push myself more. And in the week, what I did is I identified 52 concepts that I can teach Nicaraguans. I then ordered the concepts, which took like 4 times as long as actually thinking of all of them, into an order that makes sense based on someone who doesn't know anything, what is most important for them to learn first, and then what's at the end of the list, basically. Keeping in mind that every time, the further and further we get down the list, the higher the dropout rate. The more people aren't going to see it anymore. So the first things have to be the most relevant, most important one. So these ended up being a lot of like logistical stuff about how to navigate perceived obstacles that Nicaraguans have. Like, this tool fixes this problem. This tool means you don't have this problem. Stuff like that. For example, using PayPal and Payoneer. Normally, a Nicaraguan person cannot take money out of their PayPal account and put it into their bank account. Because in the US, PayPal and US banking links. So you can take money from one and put it in the other. In Nicaragua, you can't do that. There's a separation. So a lot of people don't even use PayPal. But you can actually use PayPal and another service called Payoneer to work around that and have a bank account that you can then transfer to your Nicaraguan bank. So you just have to know that the service exists and pay the 1% extra. But if you don't know that exists, you may think it's impossible, right? And that's what all these things are. And so I think for me, for my goal this time, I have to settle on an amount. If I keep working at my current pace, I'm going to finish the course or the online website at some point, but we're talking about like maybe the end of the year before it's launched, and maybe even longer. I don't know. I want to learn to be able to work more diligently on it because it is something that is so fulfilling for me. I feel happier when I feel confident that I'm progressing the Spanish website quickly. Not necessarily super fast, like I'm not saying I want to finish it all right now, but there's nothing else in my life that makes me as happy and able to be present and in the moment and enjoy things as feeling like I worked and I moved the Spanish content website forward a satisfying amount. And I almost said I worked a certain amount of hours there, but I changed it. I caught myself before I said that, right? So I think this is going to take time because I'm not good at working every single day. I'm not good at forcing myself. No, okay, I'm good at working every single day. I'm not good at working for hours straight, right? I have to trick myself into being able to do that because I normally wouldn't, nor do I want to.
He just said he can't do more than 2 hours. He does a lot in 2 hours. He's quite amazing. But he said he even can't do more than 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
He said it.
Yeah, and I've seen him work. That makes sense. He gets a lot done really quickly. He moves quickly for sure.
Yeah, but still, only 2 hours.
So I think for this week, what I need to do is settle on committing to writing out one of these emails per day. Realistically, the pace where I have this product created by the end of this quarter or even halfway through this year would be a pace where I'm doing 3 or 4 of these per day. And this isn't the whole website, but that's just so that you guys understand. Like, if I'm just doing 1 of these per day, I'm going to finish this soon in 2 months, less than that it would end up being. Because I know that doing it every day would just put me in a position where sometimes I do it more. But I think before I can really get into that and really be able to confidently say, I'm going to write 5 every day, I need to spend a week doing 1 every day. Because the last time I've had to do this kind of work where I don't have to use any creative energy, I'm creating a website, but now for this specific part, I've used most of that creative energy. All I have to do is go down a list and follow a step-by-step process. That's not creative. I've already done the creative part. Now I just have to document the things I already know. I have to convert them into a text form. so that then they can be translated and later on. Another thing is that the reason I'm starting with this email list is because this essentially creates the frame for the entire website. Because it's 52 concepts that are relevant and taught to people, I'm then creating a one sentence that teaches them and then a paragraph that teaches them. Then all I actually need for the website is to then create videos about all these concepts. And that's like 50% of the whole website right there. There's going to be more in it than this. For example, there's one email about drop shipping, but there's probably going to be like 20 or 30 videos about drop shipping. Like, it's not all going to translate that well exactly. Not like each of these concepts, some are going to have 30 videos, some are going to have one or two. So there's going to be way more to it, but it's like a really good starting point. It's the literal framework of the course. So my thing for this week will be to create 7 emails, I guess. Yeah, because I have to do one per day. And in this case, I'm happy with using the real every day, not the 5 out of 7. The 5 out of 7 is when I'm trying to have a habit for years. I know realistically I'm probably not going to do it every day, but in this case, I'm not going to be doing this for years. I want to work on this for if I could finish this in 2 weeks, I would be really proud of myself, but I know that that's probably not going to happen because I have a bunch of stuff going on. In 1 week, I'm going to the US, and then I have responsibilities in World of Warcraft now in the video game that I play. There's things that are happening. I'm part of this group of 39 other people, or groups of 40, and they're unleashing all this new content that's really challenging, and I have a higher responsibility position. So now I have a commitment every Thursday night, every Tuesday night, and every Sunday night. There's nothing else I do 3 times a week. So that's crazy. But that'll be my thing, is to write 7 of these emails. In English. I don't have to do the Spanish part. Yeah. Every day I have to write 1 email out of this list of 52 that I have.
7 emails in English.
Yeah. And I already have, I have a document. I have a document that has all the fields up. I just have to literally click on the body, number 1 email. Here's the title. Already did the titles. So now I just have to, actually that's not true. I already identified the 52 concepts, but the concept alone isn't a good title for the email because the title has to teach something. So I have to rephrase all 52 so that the title is catchy and teaches something, even if the person doesn't read the rest. And then it's okay, if they just read the title, how do we teach them? Okay, if they read the title and they read the email, what can we teach them? Okay, if they read the title, they read the email, and they go to the website and watch the video, what can we really teach them? And that's how it works. But you have to have that. I think that's called a top-down approach, where you think of all the different possibilities.
I haven't heard of that, but that makes sense.
And yeah, okay, so that's my thing. I do have another task for myself, and that's to get a whiteboard that's small for my desk, specifically to write down our goals and stuff, because I always write it on a freaking piece of paper, and then I lose the piece of paper somewhere, because I just use a random piece of paper in my notebook. Yeah, this time it was for Rita to ride her bike once.
Wow, that was about 6 weeks ago. No, a while ago. Rita doesn't ride the bike anymore.
Ray's was
she will in the future.
To get a client to Calendly signups. I don't remember asking. Did I not ask you about that?
No, I don't remember that either. Maybe that was before I came along.
Yeah, you asked me. No, you didn't ask me.
I don't think so. Yeah, because I think I lost this piece of paper.
Yeah.
Thus whiteboard.
I totally relate to that, though, Jack. And I really like Google Keep, because not only can you take notes, but you can set an alarm so you can look back at your notes. It'll notify you, and it pulls it up again. And I have one called, I think I told you, I have one called, I think it's just called Jack Meeting or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it just it has this call, the goals on it, and then it also has when we do our every couple weeks phone call, it has those goals on it and any other notes. And I have to go through once in a while and get rid of the old stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's all in one place.
But yeah, it really helps because the technology is great because it keeps it top of mind. Because if I didn't have that, who knows where I'd be? I might not even be on these calls.
Interesting.
You know, I need those reminders.
Okay, Google, can you link to Google Keep?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Damn.
Oh, maybe that's not
I think probably.
the right name. Google.
No.
It's also called Keep Notes. Keep Notes.
Okay, Google, what is Google Keep?
According to Wikipedia, Google Keep, note-taking service developed by Google, launched on March 20th, 2013. Google Keep is available on the web and mobile apps for the Android and iOS mobile operating system. Keep offers a variety of tools for taking notes, including text, lists, images, and audio.
Okay, gotcha. So Google Keep interacts with Google Calendar. And Google Calendar interacts with
I don't know
these
if
things.
I actually don't really do that. I haven't really figured out that part yet, but it does, like, you can take a note and then there's like a little alarm thing and you click on that and you can have it remind you. I have my thing remind me every day.
They're amazing.
Huh?
You can do that with these because I could go, okay, Google, remind me to walk the dog at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
I couldn't verify your voice.
Damn
so
it.
I can't set any reminders.
It's my roommate's Google. So because it's not his voice, it wouldn't let me put an event in his calendar. But normally it would have just done that.
Yeah. Well, the idea is not only can you tell them to, you know, like, I need you to remind me of this tomorrow, but you can have it remind you daily or 5 days a week or whatever. I mean, it's very, you can be very specific with it. So I actually, every single day, I have, you know, this Jack meeting notes come up. So I have to look at it and look at my yearly goal. I still forget, but my yearly goal and whatever my weekly goal was, I have to look at it. And it's not perfect because you still have to go through and get rid of the old stuff and, you know what I mean? You still
But it's in one
the
place.
clutter. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And you also have to be careful. If you remind yourself of too many things, then it's information overload and then you don't look at anything.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful not to. I tend to do too many reminders and then I don't look at anything.
That makes sense.
I get overwhelmed. But the Jack calls have been important, so I do tend to, because this is where my growth is, you know.
So what do you want to do for your accountability stuff this week?
Okay, I got it here. I might need a little help with this, but
that's what we're here for.
All right. I'm supposed to get the new laptop on Monday, and the reason I got a new one is I have a Chromebook, and it's just different. I want to kind of be on the same page with all the other editors. I know some people use Chromebook, but more people use the Windows and, you know, things like that. So I just want to be more, and also my Chromebook's getting pretty slow. I think I've had it 4 years, so it's getting kind of slow.
Okay.
So it's time. Anyway, the point is should be getting that Monday, and at the very least, I want to download the new software, which is called Premiere Pro, something like that. It's the video editing software. So that it's the one that Reyes, the entrepreneur, uses. So I thought that should be pretty good. Adobe Premiere Pro. So I don't know, like, is that enough just to download it? Because that may take, who knows, it may be difficult in some way. Who knows, maybe the new laptop's going to be problematic. I don't know, like, maybe that's enough. Or, you know, if everything goes really smoothly with that, maybe I can start taking a course or something. I don't know. That's where I'm kind of, like, not sure.
Well, you know, the Adobe Premiere Pro is a subscription. So would you?
Yeah, so I'll have to sign up for that. So maybe that's enough. And then if I do more, great. Maybe I just should really make it really simple.
I think in the beginning it's important to have them simple. But say that you do the download thing, and then next week it's like if you continue with the trend of having a simple goal, it's not good. But if you start with a simple goal with the goal of it growing to push yourself more, that's good. So I personally think that downloading it and installing it, like, is good.
That might be enough.
I would recommend
because I
that.
could run into some glitches. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I could run into some glitches. This is where I often get bogged down. Is some glitch happens, and I'm like, I can't even frickin' sign up for this thing.
How about
like and then I get discouraged and quit.
what about exporting one video using this tool? Because I'm not
Everything
saying
goes
publishing.
really smoothly, then that would be a good like secondary goal.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say? Exporting? Wait a minute. What'd you say? Exporting what?
Exporting. Yeah, so anytime you use one of these video tools, you're going to create a timeline from media you import, and then you export a finished video. The exporting process takes time. It's like baking the video that you just made, or rendering it rather. So what I'm recommending to you is that your goal is to export a sample footage using this tool. It literally doesn't matter what it is. It could be a black screen. Your goal is specifically to create a video file using the tool, because then you would have to download it. If you say the download thing, you can literally just go to Chrome and click download and you're done. You could then not even touch the tool.
I'm not going to be using Chrome though. That's what I'm saying.
I know. That's what I'm telling you. That like, I said Chrome, but I was just saying that if you go with the just download as the thing, you could literally do that in like 40 seconds after this call, and then you have a whole week of, oh, I did this. But so that's why I'm saying you should probably have it be on your goal for the week is to export a sample that it doesn't have to have anything. It can literally be a still image, but you need to successfully export something using this software, because then that will force you to do the things that you're worried about. If there is some hiccup, then it's going to get in the way and you're going to have to figure it out in order to be able to make that basic export that doesn't show anything, isn't ever going anywhere, is just testing your computer basically.
So I'm exporting it to YouTube, or I don't really understand what you're saying.
Okay. So when you edit video, you start with resources. The resources are the files that you use to create the video in the beginning. So you have a video recording, you have a photo, you have another stock footage of puppies or something. These are your resources. You edit them and you put them together, and then you don't just have a video. You have to tell the program to start the video, to start making it. That's called exporting the video. When you export the video, you have to pick a lot of things. Say it again?
Where are you exporting the video to?
The file that it is.
Okay.
Nowhere. Like just because you see the timeline in front of you, you see the video you've made, the video doesn't actually exist until you export it. Does that make sense? There's nothing to upload until you export it.
It's fine. I'm probably just getting caught up in the terminology. I get it.
Like, so when you record a video on your phone exports the video while it's being recorded, so that as you press stop, the video exists and it's playable. And depending on your phone and the format, your phone will do one of two things. It either exports while it's recording, or it gets to the ends, and then exports. But ultimately, something has to be exported for it to exist, for you to be able to then move it to YouTube or whatever.
So I think what you mean, or like in my language, make a small video out of stuff I already have.
You wouldn't even have to make a video, though. You can literally just, you would have, in order to export something, this also is one of the reasons it's a good goal for you, is because, like, you're going to see a big export button. There's going to, like, you will have to understand what exporting is in order to complete this, and it will seem abstract now, but when you actually have the tool in front of you, it'll be easier to understand. But yeah, it could be a video of your stuff, but from my perspective, that's actually taking it too far. All you actually need is to just go through one export process. So you could literally just put a video, do nothing to it, and export it, and end up with the same video. And as far as I'm concerned, that is good. That's solid, because then you've gone through the process. You're using the tool.
Okay. Yeah, my brain is probably complicating it more than it really is. Okay.
That's what our brains do.
I'll just, huh? No, I've taken notes. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Awesome.
I'll try to do that.
And one of the reasons I want to tell you this is because exporting, so when you're exporting, what's actually happening is the computer is rendering every single frame, every single picture that makes the final video. So the speed of your computer is going to determine how, or specifically your computer's CPU is going to determine how long it takes. And so that's another reason that I want you to go through this process, because if you put in a 2-minute video,
because I've noticed that sometimes these videos take a really long time to upload
render
onto YouTube.
And so that's not just the uploading part. That's when you upload a video to YouTube, it gets uploaded and then it gets processed. But this would be even before that, and it's probably going to be even longer than the amount of time that you take to upload something to YouTube.
I'm not surprised.
But for me, it's usually 30 seconds per minute rendered. So say that there is a 10-minute video, it's going to take my computer about 5 minutes to render that video and make it. But that's not always, it depends what you're doing in the video. If you have like 100 frames per second and there's a lot of information and it's all in 4K, then it's going to take 20 times longer to render than if you just have one image that you're using to create a 3-minute video. That video will render like very fast because it's actually only just duplicating one image over and over again. So it varies a lot. But anyway, it'll be perfect for you to get some experience doing this once.
I'll do my best. I'm not feeling super confident about all this, but it's probably not a big deal. I'm probably, it sounds more complicated than it is, probably.
Yeah. All right, Bray.
There we go, Rita. Good.
I know.
There's also a free service if you want to try it out. It does just about the same. It's called DaVinci, and it does the same thing as the video editing as Adobe Premiere. I tried it out, and it's about the same. Adobe and DaVinci are both. It definitely takes some time to figure out how to edit it, swiftly, and how to do it, the way you want to do it. It definitely takes some time, and you have to put in some work. The thing I use now to do my video editing is Screen Recorder, screenrecorder.com, I believe, or Screencast, that's what I use. And I got an account with them, and I like that. It's mostly used for recording your screen, but it's definitely good. Like if you got another video already there, I think you can upload it into it and just edit it from there. And it's a really good user interface. So maybe, I don't know, you could try that one out first. They have a free version where you can try it out first. And go ahead and go into my accountability. I was sitting here trying to think of something, and only thing I could really think of, because I haven't really been too focused on it, was putting in some job applications, because the job I'm currently at is going to be moving to Kentucky, and they plan on doing that in May.
Okay.
It was supposed to be March that we're supposed to end production, but they moved it down to May that we're going to end production. But there's no telling when they're going to end their swing shift, their night shift, and that's what I really need. So I'm going to put in some applications to some night jobs, and I was going to say 3 applications this week.
Okay.
3 applications. They can be extensive. So
Tell me more about what goes into writing an application. Like realistically, how long would that take? I'm so disconnected from applying to jobs. I honestly don't know enough to tell you.
Self-employed most of his life. Look at that. For one, everything's all internet based now, so it's not really so much of a going to the job and meeting them, meet and greet anymore, because they're just going to direct you to their hiring website. So pretty much you can upload your resume, but there's still going to be like loads of questions and got to verify your social security and verify all this, your high school diploma and stuff. It's like, it's a whole bunch of extra stuff, but it's kind of information they need for their, to cover them and
Yeah.
what they got going on and liability issues. So, but when you first go into it, say like you're using Indeed and .com, you click on the job that you want. There's two ways that Indeed works. You can either directly straight to their website, or that company is working with Indeed to get new hires. So when Indeed is working with that company, or that company is working with Indeed, it's definitely way quicker. But you don't know which company is doing that to you're looking. But when you go to that company website, you're gonna be there for 40 minutes trying to fill out that application, up to an hour.
Cool. All right,
And
that
it's
sounds
very
good
boring.
then. I think that's a solid goal.
There you go.
So
Do they still do those old applications? Do they still like time out on you if you take too long? You remember that?
Yes,
that
I
still
remember
happens
They
to
still
that.
me
do that,
every
or
time
they
I
do
order a
that?
plane
Oh
ticket.
man, I could definitely. I'm thinking of like Burger King applications that used to do that all the time, and yeah,
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
yeah. I'm like, why
But
are
is
you
it,
putting
is
a
it any
timer?
better?
But it was a timer because, like, I guess like the server or something, like the server will time out or something. It was pretty much a
Yeah.
timer for that. That was pretty. Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, and I think of like older people who are not super internet savvy trying to do that. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So, Jack, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but like people would be filling out an application and they would take too long because maybe they're looking for their paperwork or whatever and trying to get the dates
Time's out.
right.
They have
and
to
this and that.
restart. That
And
happens
the
to me.
freaking thing would time out and you'd lose everything.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It was bad. I think it must be better by now, I would think.
That still happens sometimes. It depends. Like if you're trying to buy a plane ticket or something, then once you start the checkout process, you get locked into that price for like 10 minutes or whatever. So if you go to the bathroom and you take 10 minutes and 1 second too long, you have to restart the entire process. It's irritating. That's part of the internet.
Even now, even today, huh?
Yep.
Even today? That's crazy.
All right, guys, I gotta pee really bad, and this call is pretty much over. I guess I should look at the live chat really quick, see if there's anything I can help with.
Dang, Reed, I'm actually looking into getting a van once I go back to Florida. So.
If you haven't, are you going back to Florida?
Yeah, I gotta
If
go
you have
back.
if you have any questions, Jack has to go pee, so we don't want to keep him too long. But if you have any questions about van living, I got some answers.
Okay.
4.5 years.
We'll talk about it
I'll
next
hit
week.
you up.
Talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Ciao. Best of luck.
Ciao.